Today, we're going to dive into some Power Rangers history and learn about its different eras. Welcome Rangers to the Trivia Force, a place where we fill our brains with facts and knowledge about the Power Rangers. I'm your host, Jerby of Morphenomenal. So right off the bat, I have to tell you that all of these so-called eras are unofficial, meaning that they aren't technically recognized by the franchise or the production companies, which is somewhat ironic since most of these eras are named after the companies that produced the show. More on that later. However, Power Ranger fans came up with the idea of naming these eras for distinguishability's sake. Each era has its own style and feel to it, whether it be in the tone, overall storyline, characters, etc. Also, since the Power Ranger eras are purely fan-made, it is based more on opinions. So there are, for example, seasons that some people believe belong to one era while some may disagree. But that is the beauty of these. It is open to interpretation and discussion. I'm just presenting the fruits of my research and let you form your own opinions based off of what you get from this video. Anyway, with all that out of the way, let us start from the beginning, the Saban era. In 1993, Saban Entertainment launched the first season of Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin, and would be the company responsible for producing and distributing succeeding seasons until 2001, hence the era's name. During this period, Power Rangers was broadcasted by Fox on the Fox Kids network. The Saban era can be viewed as a time where the franchise grew up with its audience. It started with a lighthearted, idealistic tone, and it eventually introduced more mature themes as the series progressed. If you want to get into the nitty-gritty of things, the Saban era can be further subdivided into two separate periods, the Zordon and post-Zordon eras. The Zordon era was named after the mentor of the original Power Rangers and a pivotal character throughout the first 6 seasons. It is comprised of all 3 seasons of Mighty Morphin, including the Alien Rangers miniseries, Zeo, Turbo, and In Space. One of the prominent themes of this era is that the Rangers were teenagers who would eventually transition into adulthood, dealing with the challenges that comes along with it. Unlike seasons that came after this era, the characters and storylines of every season are hugely intertwined with each other. For example, instead of beginning a season with a fresh batch of Rangers, the roles were passed along to characters who were systematically introduced to the audience. The Zordon era came to a close during the finale of Power Rangers in Space when Zordon sacrificed himself to defeat the main villains of every season of this era. This brings us to the post-Zordon era. Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force, and Wild Force composed this particular era. A huge difference between this period and the past one is that the post-Zordon era marked the start of Rangers that are already young adults as opposed to teenagers. Another is that the score or music veered away from being rock-themed and became predominantly orchestral. Team-up episodes were present as well in all of these post-Zordon seasons. Remember at the beginning of this video when I talked about the seasons that fans are torn whether they belong to a certain era or not? Well, Lost Galaxy is an example of this. Power Rangers Lost Galaxy introduces audience to a new set of Rangers who have no direct connections to the previous team. The cause of argument is that Lost Galaxy retained some elements that belonged to its predecessors. Bulk, Professor Phenomenus, Alpha, Astronema, the Astro Megaship, and the return of the Space and Psycho Rangers. My 2 cents, however, is that at a technical standpoint, the name of this era is post-Zordon, meaning that this was a time when the Zordon character no longer existed. Plus, the appearance of elements from the previous seasons is rather an indication that everything in the Power Rangers belonged to a singular universe. That's why I think that the term Saban era became a thing, because it blankets both the Zordon and post-Zordon periods, easing any arguments. However, it doesn't stop there. The end of the post-Zordon era is also a debatable subject. Around 2001, Disney was able to acquire the Power Rangers franchise, and this was the time when Wild Force was being produced. A number of fans believe that since production already changed hands, Wild Force should be the start of the next era, thus making Lightspeed Rescue the final season under the post-Zordon era. A counterpoint though is that MMPR Productions, the team behind the previous post-Zordon era seasons, was still in charge of Wild Force. Plus, most fans believe that the distinguishing factor of the post-Zordon and Disney eras is the filming location. Power Rangers Wild Force is the last season to be shot in the US, since succeeding seasons were filmed in New Zealand. So, when did the post-Zordon era really end? Well, as far as I'm concerned, Wild Force is the last season, based off of the production team and filming location factors. But as I've said before, all of this is open to interpretation. So moving along, the Disney era has 7 seasons under its belt: Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, SPD, Mystic Force, Operation Overdrive, Jungle Fury, and RPM. There were a lot of changes that occurred during Disney's reign. After relocating to New Zealand, the aforementioned MMPR Productions was dissolved and replaced. Also, Fox Kids was rebranded, and Power Rangers was now being broadcasted on Jetix and ABC Kids. The move to another country also brought about ensembles that are predominantly made up of Australian and Kiwi actors. As for the show, Disney-era seasons changed directions from the mature tone of past seasons, except for the later ones, and became more comical in nature. There are several comic relief characters in every season, and the show started poking fun at itself, which was evident in the dialogue.
Where do you get your spandex?
That is not spandex! The material is a self-assembling memory.
The Disney era came to a close when the company decided to stop producing new seasons after RPM, hence effectively canceling the series. In 2010 though, Saban Brands was able to reacquire the Power Rangers back from Disney, thus marked the dawn of the latest era, the Neo-Saban era. Also known as the New Saban or Saban Brands era, this period launched with the release of Power Rangers Samurai. The show also found its new home on Nickelodeon. As part of an agreement with Nick, the Neo-Saban era seasons are now shorter with around 20 episodes per season. This started the trend of cutting a supposed 40-episode long season into 2. The later half included the word super in its title to avoid confusion, such as Dino Charge followed by Dino Super Charge. It is also worth noting that the Neo-Saban era seasons are now in HD format. The general tone of the show is reminiscent of the first era, which is now called Old Saban era. One can say that they went back to their roots when they brought back aspects of the first era. For example, the reintroduction of Bulk in Samurai and pairing him with Spike is a similar comedic duo he had with Skull. This was also obvious in Megaforce. Gosei is similar to Zordon, Tenso to Alpha, the method of how the Power Rangers were recruited, and even the color scheme. As of the recording of this video, Power Rangers is currently in the Neo-Saban era. So far, there aren't any signs that would make us believe that a new era will be dawning anytime soon. So that's it, the different eras of the Power Rangers. What is your favorite era? I personally like the post-Zordon era for its more mature stories, but how about you? Let us know all about them in the comment section. Anyway, remember to give this video a like and share it. You can follow me on Twitter @JerbyRanger. For more videos like this, subscribe if you haven't already and hit that bell icon. This has been Jerby from Morphenomenal. Thanks, and as always, may the power protect you.